I didn't care. If I die, it doesn't matter. If I live, it doesn't matter. If I eat, it doesn't matter. And the drugs drove me physiologically to have that. And as long as that was in my system, then I got to maintain that feeling. I didn't realize all it did was encapsulated this little fearful little boy from being 14 years old. I always tell people I lived most of my life as a negative part of a Polaroid picture. It was just all black and white, and that was it, no flavor. Now I'm live and living color. There's hope within you. You may not realize it, but something brought you to the point where you are right.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Journey to Solutions podcast, where we interview people from all walks of life who've overcome the impossible. We shine light on one simple truth: no matter your past, no matter your pain, with the power of God, anything is possible. And today I'm really happy because we got a really special guest. Came here all the way from Ohio. This guy is known to be best friends with Dr. Drew. I mean, that's just what I see, right? I see pictures with him. He has 27 years of sobriety? 27 years of sobriety, and he was homeless for 23 years of homelessness, which is a long time. And as you know, the homeless thing it's a big deal. It's a real thing that's happening, and not everybody's able to make it out. And his story is so powerful because not only did he get out of homelessness, but he's also a
nurse practitioner.
Woo! I'm just letting you know, guys, your nurse practitioner might be an ex-homeless person. I'm just saying, right?
You never know.
You never know. The ghetto practitioner, right?
That's me, man, the ghetto practitioner.
We got the ghetto practitioner. He has a powerful story, somebody who've overcome the impossible, and he loves God, and it's proof that God is real and that God can change you no matter what. And he also has a nonprofit called the Brown Manor.
The Jeanette Jones Saffold Foundation.
Oh, that's right. It's your mom's name, right?
Right.
And
the house is Brown
Manor. That's
yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And the house he's creating in Ohio is to build a program that's actually going to help the homeless, to actually give them skills, to give them the ability to learn how to live life on life's terms, and to really be there with them every step of the way, so they have a better chance of life when they're thrown out into the wild, as they say. Because a lot of times in life, people want to help people, but they don't know how to create a blueprint to actually help them the correct way, because not all of us are gifted with money and family and talent. A lot of us have to be taught those things. And so it's a beautiful thing that he's doing that. So I want to introduce Anthony Brown.
Well, thank you, Fausto, for having me, man. It's always a pleasure to be here with the Hope Dealer, man. I mean, ever since I met you, dude, and I learned that name. You know, I would say a title, but it's not the title because you're the real deal, man. I mean, they always say your actions speak so loud I can't hear what you say. Well, you know what, man? Your actions speak your words, so it's a pleasure sitting here with you today.
I appreciate you sharing that. That means a lot coming from you. Yeah, I remember the first time I heard your name was probably like my first year of sobriety, and to me, you're like a celebrity. Everyone's like, "Do you know Anthony Brown?" I'm like, "Who is that?" "Oh, you got to hear him speak. This guy's like big time." And I remember that.
Oh, man.
And then I first met you in person was at the Red Bird Foundation.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, uh-huh.
It was there. And that's when I first got to meet you. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's the famous Anthony Brown.
I don't know, dude, because when they told me about Fausto, I'm like, Fausto? I'm like, yeah, him. And I'm like, who's Fausto? You know, it's like, then I realized, like, you are the Fausto. And I'm like, well, let me check it out. Then I was like, yeah, that's the Hope Dealer. And I'm like, okay. And then the jump rope thing, I'm like, man, who is this guy? Then I paid attention. It's like, I want to be like you, man. You know, just your spiritual connection is attractive. And that's something that a lot of us, we don't necessarily take it for granted, but we forget that we possess it. And you bring that out in all the things you do. So it's a pleasure just even kicking it with you.
Oh, man. Well, hey, the feelings are mutual, and I appreciate it. So let me ask you this. Like, something I've noticed with you, you're always so, like, excited. You're always very selfless. I can see you're always, like, rooting for those around you, the underdogs. You're just excited for people and for life. Were you always like that, or is that something that you kind of walked into when you started getting into your recovery journey?
It was probably my recovery journey. I mean, even as a little kid, I didn't know about people. You know, I was raised in I guess you can say alcoholic home because my mom drank and, everybody around her drank. So that's what I was introduced to at an early age. So I thought that was normal and started drinking. And I didn't realize till later on in life that drinking anesthetizes your true feelings. And so I grew up pretty much stunted. And then, a lot of abuse came with the drinking and all. I got to see some violence both inside and outside the home. And finally, at the age of 14, I said, well, I, I got to go, and I took my chances. So I ran away from home.
And why did you run away from home that young?
Because of some abuse that was going on. It was that last straw, the last beating that made me say, I got to throw in a towel. I can't live like this. And so I'd rather go out there in the streets and, not necessarily take my chance, but to me, it's like have a chance. Because as I was younger, growing up, I've always been attracted to the streets. There was something always going on out there. Back in the day, people smoked pot, got to hang out, all of that stuff. And me, it's like, you come in the house, it's getting dark now. And I look out the window and everybody else is still out there. I'm like, man, I want some of that.
Right, you got that FOMO kicking in, huh?
Man, I got to have it.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that the lure of all of that had its consequences. I left home, so okay, I ain't got no place to go. So I started living in abandoned houses back east and things of that nature, and picked up hustling because you gotta survive. And I wasn't much on handouts back then. Now I can do this. Start selling weed and all of that stuff, and next thing you know, the weed turned into harder drugs, and I got full blown addiction. My friend said, "Hey, let's just go to California." I'm like, I ain't got nothing else going on. So I came to California and stayed homeless, but I was warm.
Right.
Well, the sunshine homeless, and
you're bougie homeless.
I was bougie, man. I mean, enjoying baths by the beach, going into different restaurants, and it was okay because that was my lifestyle.
Because at what age were you first homeless? Would you say it?
14.
So 14. Wow. So 14.
14.
So basically, just to put into perspective, a ninth grader would be a 14-year-old.
Dude, I was a repeated eighth grader, man.
Yeah, really. I was a repeated eighth grader.
Repeated eighth grader.
Wow. How do you was it scary in the beginning being homeless at first? Like how was that in the beginning where you're like, where do I sleep? Where do I find food? Like, is somebody going to hurt me? Like, how did you, what was that like?
It wasn't really scary because I've already been anesthetizing myself with booze. So I didn't have any feelings, And coming from a violent environment, fear. What's that? I was told a long time ago, if you're in fear, you're not a man. And of course I got called that P word.
Yeah.
So I don't want to grow up to be a wussy. Oh, that's a W word. But anyway,
right.
I don't want to grow up to be a wussy. So I got to prove myself. And then out there in the streets, it's like if you show any fear, then you get eaten up. And so I was always one of those people. I was volatile, say anything, just anything, sneeze, and I'm gonna hit you with a stick. And that's what I did, and that was the way I sort of raised myself. I was very volatile. I really didn't care about much, and the booze and the drugs helped. And so that's how I was able to survive. Just take what I felt I wanted, and who cares about the consequences?
Do you feel like when you're in that season and you're becoming this person, right, to survive on the streets, at that time when you're younger, did you almost find some sense of joy out of it, like that lifestyle? Like, man, I like this. Like, I can do this for the rest of my life.
It was more like I just didn't care. I mean, I used to always say, if you don't expect nothing, when you don't get nothing, you don't feel nothing. And that was my mantra. So there wasn't no fluctuations of emotions. It was just like flat. I didn't care. If I die, it doesn't matter. If I live, it doesn't matter. If I eat, it doesn't matter. And the drugs drove me physiologically to have that. And as long as that was in my system, then I got to maintain that feeling. I didn't realize all it did was encapsulated this little fearful little boy from being 14 years old. And so that's how I cruised. I worked for the carnival, was a carny, traveled town to town, lived amusement rides, got pretty big, and was just being me. Had guns, knives pulled on me. It's like, who cares? I mean, if I died, what I got to lose? I ain't got nothing to live for anyway. That was my philosophy. And so I just existed. And that's how my life was. Then I came to California with the same mentality.
And how old are you when you came to California?
18.
Oh, so that young. So 4 years homeless in Ohio,
yeah.
right? And then now 18,
Mm-hmm.
California.
18 in California. And that's not, because the town I come from was a small town.
Yeah.
And so the only thing I knew about California, I seen on television.
Right.
The Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah. So you thought?
I thought everybody lived like the Beverly Hillbillies, man. I was going to come to, swimming pools and movie stars. And
Because what part of California did you come to first?
Linwood.
Oh, God.
No, if you're from California, you know Linwood. It's not Beverly Hills.
Oh, no.
There's a big difference, and
Yeah.
I found that out.
Different type of hillbillies.
Different type of everything. Yeah. And but I fit in.
Yeah.
Because I'm from the streets.
Yeah.
And one thing I know for sure from my experience, if you're in that circle, you will attract that circle.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't hard for me to pick up other drugs once I got out here. And then with the drugs come this entire environment, this entire persona, this entire existence. I mean, you get involved in drugs. How are you going to keep the drugs? You pick up drugs for somebody else, then you pinch a little bit. Then you discover that you can sell. And next thing you know, it's like, okay, you're making a little bit of money. You stay high. And it just becomes a constant game, a constant hustle. And so that was the lifestyle that I was accustomed to. And I thought, okay, this is all right. Whenever I did get hungry, I had a few coins to eat. I always stayed loaded, and it didn't matter because nobody bothered me.
What do you feel like, now that you look back, like what do you feel like you were missing the whole time? What was Anthony Brown missing the whole time? Because, we, like you said, right, you're at this place where I just don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
But deep down inside, we discover we truly do care.
Right.
Right? Like, what do you feel like you were missing that made you not care so much about?
So you can get me all mushy right now, man. The thing that, the thing I felt I was missing was a sense of belonging, because I didn't have nobody. It was me. I didn't have friends. I didn't have family per se. It was just me. And it's like every now and again, I'd feel it. And so back then I could anesthetize it. This time I just process it. But yeah, that was that. I just wanted to be accepted somewhere. Sure, you're accepted in the drug gang, but once you run out of drugs, that's about it. I noticed that there's a difference between acquaintances and friends.
Yeah.
I have plenty of acquaintances out there, but no friends. And so looking for that acceptance in the streets didn't happen, but getting acceptance by having the drugs did happen. So that satisfied that in a real negative way, inappropriate way. And so I had at least that going on, so that kept me into that environment. Because in that environment of being homeless, I was somebody. But then when I got sober in the beginning, I was a nobody.
So back to
nobody.
That fear again.
With no drugs. And thank God, because of the community I was introduced to, I gradually got used to being accepted as just who I am. I didn't have to be part of anything, just be me, and people accepted me. And people actually liked me, and so that was a really interesting transformation, because just making that shift from living, I always tell people I lived most of my life as a negative part of a Polaroid picture. It was just all black and white, and that was it, no flavor. Now I'm live and living color. But making that transition was hard, because I had to discover that I had to let go of what I know and pick up something I didn't know, and then learn to know what I don't know. And everything started to change.
Yeah, I love that. It's right. I think a lot of people have that problem of, right, a lack of belonging, a lack of feeling seen, right, feeling invisible, and everybody wants to be a part of something,
right?
And like you said, sometimes what we choose may not be good for us, but it's something in that moment, and like you said, it's, sometimes any attention's good attention.
Right.
And so when you get that from specific circles, the outcasts, the druggies, the alcoholics, the party people, the people that ditch school, whatever it is, right, the gang members, what will go that route. And and I think that's why AA is beautiful in a sense of that, right? If you just stick around, you can see some people are just, we see the newcomer. Hey, what's your name? You want to sit next to me? Hey, we're going to get some coffee. You want to come with us, right? And we do that for the newcomer always because of that right?
Exactly.
I don't know what value I have. I don't know how to. I'm used to drugs and alcohol. I know, like for me that's why I like being a bartender, because everyone likes a bartender.
Of course.
It's the same concept, right? Oh, I like this feeling. Fausto gives me free drinks. Fausto knows how to pour heavy. Fausto. I'm bringing my friends. Or, you could sleep at Fausto's house after you're on drugs. Like his mom's cool and we could sleep there or whatever it is. And then you get sober. Well, I don't have drugs. I'm not a bartending. I don't.
Right. And then even, not just recognizing, realizing, but even communicating that, because for me, well, for one thing, I'm an 8th grade dropout. And so my language was just full of F-bombs anyway. It was like, oh, what's up? And it's like, excuse me? I beg your pardon, and making that transformation, because I identified with that environment. And so anything else was foreign. And if I don't know it, then I don't like it. And so I come into this foreign land. I remember the first time I went into treatment and I walked through, and it was so funny. I walk in scared, but I didn't want to tell you I was scared.
Right.
I walked in fresh out of prison, so I had some muscles and all of that stuff. I get that typical scowl on my face.
Yeah.
And I walk in and people are running around, they're all happy and everything. Run up, let me hug you. I was like, hold up, man, wait a minute. I didn't think it was this kind of party. I'm fresh out of prison.
You're trying to hug me?
Yeah, right. What's going on in here? Oh, we're gonna love you till you love yourself. No, you're not either. I don't play that.
Yeah.
Come on now. But then I come to realize that some people really meant that because I didn't know how to love myself. I didn't the word love. Nah, I was okay with me. Even saying the word like was difficult.
Yeah.
But I was okay with me. But I get to a place, it's like, no, it's okay to be not okay, and it's okay to be loved. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
And when you got sober, is that how you started your journey? Was in treatment for you?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where it started.
That's where it started.
Okay.
I went to treatment twice. The first time I came in, I went in, and I still had that idea. It's like, you know what? Maybe I can do it one more time. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't as bad as I thought. Yeah, right. It's like I went out and did some controlled drinking, and I can just handle one or two. And next thing you know, I'm drinking out the brown paper sack again, and then I started doing drugs again. Then that whole behavior started. Then I got arrested. And it's like, this ain't working. It's the same old stuff. And so I've been around since March 29th, 1999.
Yeah, because and I know you said you were homeless for 23 years.
23 years, from 14 to 37.
One, it's some people might be shocked that someone could even survive that long on the streets, right? Some people that have never been homeless, they have a preconceived notion of what it's like on the streets. They don't know. Some people can't handle living on the streets. They try it. They're like, oh, go back home. I can't handle this. But for you, 23 years. For you, why do you think for you, it took 23 years of just going through what you go through to finally just get to this place of like, maybe I gotta, maybe the way I'm living is not right. Maybe I need to get sober or something.
Well, for a long time, I didn't think I had a problem. Being homeless was okay. I was a hustler, and it's really fascinating because I didn't know exactly what was wrong, but I knew something wasn't right. And so being out there living in that environment, that was my norm. That's what I knew. And I didn't even know I had a problem until one day a police officer, the same one that busted me several times and sent me to prison, finally had me in the backseat of his car, and he goes, "Don't you think you got a problem?" I'm like, "Huh?" And he goes, "Yeah, dude, you got a problem." And I didn't know I had a problem, until he made me aware of it. And I'm like, okay. And at that point in time, and I was just done. I was tired of being dirty. I was tired of being hungry. I was tired of being strung out. I was tired of getting arrested. I was tired of all that stuff.
Because you're doing what, meth at this point?
I was doing meth. Anything. You put it in front of me. If it was free, it was for me.
Right.
And when he told me that, I was just tired. I was literally physically, emotionally, spiritually bankrupt. And I said, yeah, I think I need some help. And I didn't realize that he knew the lady that had the treatment center. And I didn't have any money. They scholarship. That's when I went in and people were hugging me and all that other stuff.
That time.
Yeah. And it was cool, dude, because I had no social skills, you know. I had no social skills at all. And I went into this treatment center, and they said, we're going to love you till you love yourself. I did 30 days, and I went to my first meeting at Wednesday Night Men's Dag at Charlie Street.
Oh, Charlie Street was your first
meeting? That was my first meeting, and it was perfect. It was perfect because those dudes, man, they're low bottom. They're low bottom. And I went down there, and they were smoking cigarettes, and I come in with my 30. I was a 30-day wonder, man.
Yeah, right.
I got this, you know. And I went in, and they let me share the first time, and I raised my hands. Like, yeah, man, I'm an alcoholic, you know. And everybody's like, hey, Anthony. I'm like, you know, this treatment center is mistreating me. Yeah, you know. I just wanted them to know, you know.
Yeah.
And I said, they're making me do chores. I got to make my bed. You know, I have to eat hot dogs. You know, now, mind you, I was homeless for 23 years, and I'm telling these guys in this room that I'm being mistreated because they gave me free food and housing. And everybody clapped afterwards, man. And I'm like, okay, this is cool. Then I sat down, and the next dude got up, and he goes, hey, man, my name is Pete. And he looked at me and goes, you're whiny little, and called me a B, man. You whiny. And he told me, shut the F up. Just shut up. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, man. You don't know me. You know, I just got done coming out of the joint.
Yeah,
you
right.
know, you can't talk
I'm
to me
Anthony
like,
Brown, you know?
Right. You know, I was like, hey, you don't know what I could do to you. And he's like, I don't care about you, man. You ain't nothing. Sit down. I'm like, okay, will you be my sponsor?
And that was your sponsor?
Yeah, that was my first sponsor, Pete. And because he wasn't afraid to just call me on my crap. Because how is it that you didn't have nothing and people are giving you something better than what you had, and you're complaining about, yes, it was new, it was foreign. I didn't understand any of this, man. All I knew was I was tired. And somebody took me in, and they kept me around, and a bunch of people said, hey, we like you. We're going to love you till you love yourself. That was all new. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give this deal a try. And then all of a sudden I got introduced to the steps, start practicing them. And next thing you know, I found this God that's in the miracle business. And that's where I'm at today.
No, I love that. What do you think it was for you that made you so open to him being like, kind of like giving you that like constructive criticism? You know, sometimes people could hear that, oh, screw this place, or like, you don't know me and you leave. What do you think it was for you in that moment where you're able to actually take that in to be like, I want you to be my sponsor?
Well, he was large, and
as big as a bee,
yeah, and it's just, I just wanted to fit in.
Yeah,
you know, again, I always wanted to be accepted someplace. And here's a person, and they spoke my language. Cause see, out there in the streets, I'm volatile. I'll talk some mad crap to you in a heartbeat. I'll tell you, shut down. You know, sit down, get the F away from me. All of that stuff. And this guy, he's in sobriety, and he spoke the same language that I did. I understood him. When he said, sit down and shut the F up, I knew what he was talking about. Now, if he would have said, oh, we're going to love you till you love yourself, I'd be like, here's another mark. You know? But no, he just said, look, dude, we don't give a damn about your feelings. I'm like, okay. And he goes, you ain't got nothing going on. You know? So why don't you just shut up and be grateful? And I'm like, dang, you guys talk like that around here? You know? And back then, everybody at Charlie Street had some sobriety talk like that. You know, I mean, some of the stuff they told me, man, it's like, dude, you don't have a key to your own place. You ain't got a watch on. You're wearing somebody else's socks. It's like, what are you doing? You know, you're a grown ass man. And I'm like, wow. You know, it's like, okay, so how do I get to what you got? They go, well, do what we do. And then I picked up that book, and I'm like, man, this thing, I taught myself how to read in prison, dude. I mean, I had no literacy skills, nothing. I had an 8th grade education. The only math I knew was 28 grams made an ounce. That's it. You know, and that's on a good day if you get it.
Yeah, right.
But and I came in like that, and the guys accepted me as I was, not as I could be, but as I was. And they did little things like, hey, here's $20. Go get yourself something to eat. And say, well, when can I pay you back? No, pay it forward. And that taught me how to give. You know, give. And I'm like, why you guys even want to hang around with me? And it's like, dude, why not? You're all right. You're just a little dusty. You know?
I love that. Yeah, I think you said it perfectly right. There's power when somebody understands you emotionally because they've been there, because there's a language, right? Like, we know how to, I'll listen to you if you speak the same way that I do.
Right.
Which makes you more open to taking direction. And then, like you said, right, just having people love you for you. Now, and like literally, you couldn't give them nothing.
Nothing.
And they're loving on you. They're there for you, showing up for you. And if you stick around with that, like you said, it's almost like God used your defect of wanting to fit in as an asset in this moment. Like now you're going to fit in the right place. This is where I want you to fit in, to be accepted. This is the crew. And so, yeah, it's powerful when another alcoholic or another person that's been in your shoes meets you where you're at and walks with you.
Exactly.
Because there's only so much I believe you can learn from reading about something.
Right.
You know, and yeah, there's some stuff in there like, yeah, that's true stuff they're saying, but there's still that disconnect of when you've been through it.
That experience.
That experience is like, it makes you almost like sidekick to what they're thinking, to how they're feeling, and how to be there for every type of situation.
Right.
So we don't take things personal. We don't over analyze the person. We don't, nothing. We're like, I get it, but I'm here for you. And so I love that these men showed up. And another thing you said too that's powerful, I think, that people don't talk about is when, even though this is a program to help you, these are people that are loving you, these are people that are healthy for you, and now you have opportunities to go to school, a life, get a car. But like you said, like, yeah, it's cool, but it's not actually that easy when you don't know what that looks like or what that feels like. You said you didn't even know how to talk.
Right.
What did you how did you learn how to talk correctly? How did you learn how to start navigating life correctly? You're 23 years homeless now, and now it's like, okay, cool. First, here's day one of not being homeless no more.
And I think it all started when I was sharing in meetings, because I would share and I would use profanity, thinking that's trying to impress people, and they would say, that's not impressive, and it's like, okay, and then people would say, well, read some books and learn how to talk, formulate sentences and articulate them correctly. And I'm like, articulate what? And then as time goes on, I start enjoying the results of that.
What were the results that you were noticing?
Better class of people wanted me around them. And I thought that was really fascinating. People that were going places was willing to take me with them because of my behavior had shifted. Nancy Clark, I love her to death. One of her rules in her program is you got to shave, period. And I couldn't understand that. And she's like, well, you should always be ready to be presentable. I learned that going to court. You can go to court all dungied out, wearing a T-shirt with something on it. The judge will look at you and go, get out of here.
Right.
You go in, collared shirt, clean shaven. It's like you got a chance. They taught me little things like that, and so communicating efficiently and effectively, or being able to articulate your meaning was the beginning. Then it's like, okay, well then what exactly do you mean? What exactly do you want? Don't beat around the bush. I was taught don't lie anymore. What for? Just tell the truth. It's not your responsibility if somebody accepts it. Now, don't be brutally honest.
Yeah. Hey, I don't like you. I don't like you. I don't like you. You suck.
Yeah. Instead of saying you suck, I just have difficulties with your behavior.
Yeah. You're a little different.
Exactly. And that's okay. That's you. That's you. That's just who you are. And I had to learn all of that and be sociable. AA taught me a whole lot of stuff. They had me as a greeter at the door meetings. Shake some hands. Why? It's like, just do it. Okay, I shook hands. Next thing you know, people got to know my name. It's like, oh, you know me. Okay, I fit in. Then they gave me some responsibilities. Like, okay, back then we used to smoke in meetings. Wash coffee cups.
Oh, you could smoke in the meetings back then?
Yeah, back then, yeah. Well, my first commitment was washing ashtrays, and I graduated to the coffee cups.
There you go.
But yeah, it's like, wash ashtrays. Why I got to do that? It's because you're being of service. Then from washing ashtrays, I got to wash coffee cups. And in the beginning, I didn't like it. It was work. But I did it. Now, towards the end of that commitment, man, I was the best coffee cup washer that you could imagine, man. I was the sneak. That was it, man. And because of that, I felt like I had some sort of responsibility. I was part of. And they didn't tell me that by having a commitment over a long period of time, that'll teach you how to be accountable and responsible. So when you get a job, you show up to work and you do what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't tell me that part. They just said, wash the coffee cup, wash the ashtrays, come to meetings, be a greeter. All of those things kind of retrained my brain. And that got me out of this whole isolation and being afraid of you because you might do something to me. And that started my journey. That was a blueprint for recovery.
Yeah, I love the way you explained it too, how like you started to notice benefits of talking more proper, changing your behavior, of people want to hang out with me. Oh, wow, I'm noticing, oh, wow, people are inviting me to these things.
Right.
This feels good. The different types of groups of people now, like, oh, wow, I'm hanging out with smarter people, maybe more wealthier people that I look up to. Oh, wow, this is nice. And I love that, right? Picking up the commitment. Yeah, it's teaching how to show up when you don't want to show up, teaching you how to get outside of self, teaching you how when you're the greet, that's the best thing, right? Like, hey, everybody knows you now. Like, how cool is that? Because everyone has to see you. And then after that, it's cool. The next meeting, oh, Anthony, it feels so good when everyone knows you in the mirror. Like, oh, I kind of like this.
Right.
This is a good feeling. And it's like, yeah, it's like you're a part of. Now you have all these people that know you. This is your home. Now it's even more exciting. I feel like when you go back to the meeting, it's like I like going to that meeting now. Everyone knows me, and I got so many friends, and so I love that how. Because I've always said that too. Like AA is kind of like for a lot of us our training ground to learn how to socialize, to learn how to talk, how to connect, how to build community, anything. And it's nice to hang out with recovery people outside of AA because you learn how to live outside of AA. Let's go bowling.
Right.
Let's go see a movie.
Let's go fishing.
Let's go fishing.
Yeah, do all kinds of stuff. Skydiving. I mean, I could never imagine doing none of this stuff. That wasn't in my thought process, and the things that I got involved in because I was part of that community is just amazing. And the cool part is once you get like a commitment, or once people are expecting you to be at a certain place and you show that you've done it consistently, then when you don't show up, people's like, well, where are you?
That's a good feeling.
That is a good feeling.
Hey, Anthony, you okay? Oh.
Yeah.
Man, they notice, they care.
Right. It's like, yeah. And so all of that stuff, again, was the blueprint of how I shaped my life. Through the demonstration of that, I want to be able to demonstrate it with other individuals. And in life, it's just been way more than I could have ever imagined.
Do you feel like they have those kind of structures for the homeless community without them having to have an addiction? Because, obviously there's a lot of homeless that have addictions. And so if you go to AA, awesome. But let's say someone's homeless that doesn't have maybe they don't have a drug addiction or who knows. Do you feel like there's communities or programs that kind of have that similar structure of like community meetings everywhere? We get together, we love on you, we teach you how to do all these things. Like, have you ever seen that in the homeless communities?
I have. There's when you talk about the homelessness, I love the homeless. I mean, that's my jam.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the homeless community, you're looking at a combination of a lot of different factors. And unfortunately, you don't have a one-size-fit-all program. You might have somebody that has mental illness and substance use comorbidities. But then, okay, we can take care of the mental illness, but we don't care if you drink every now and again. Well, then that'll set your medications. And then you can come to AA and say, well, don't drink or do any mind-altering, mood-altering drugs. And it's like, okay, well, that medication you're taking for anxiety isn't accepted. Or when you start looking at a lot of things that can cause somebody to be homeless, and people don't realize, if somebody was raised with their parent all their life, they're 40 years old, all they know is being home with mom and dad. What happens if mom and dad goes? Then they're stuck with making decisions they never had before. And they start losing things. And next thing you know, they're out there in the street. And so there's a lot of different factors. So to have a program designed to address or to identify and recognize all of those issues is what I'm creating out there in Ohio.
So you're really taking in like every different aspect that can be found within the homeless community, and how do we tackle all these things to be able to help everybody?
Right, because it's a holistic approach. You can fix one thing. It's like whack-a-mole. You can fix one thing and another thing will pop up, because a lot of these things feed into each other. And so being able to address that, and that's not even getting into the financial aspect or deep diving into that. It's like, well, how can you have financial issues. You can't get a job. Why can't you get a job? Because I have a prison record. Then how do you deal with that? You know, how do you communicate that, yes, this is my history, but that's not me now. Let me prove to you I'm better. How do you get somebody to even be able to transmit that message? And that even takes layers because you have to overcome that fear of rejection. And so a lot of these different things we take into consideration when we're helping people out there dealing without, you know, I throw it underneath the umbrella just homeless because there's a lot of stuff going on. I even want to start, you know, a homeless 12-step meeting.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, just sit around and we're going to do it in the house, you know. Sit around and go, you know what, my name's Anthony and I was homeless, you know. And then see, you know, I'm powerless over that lifestyle. Yeah, it's people don't understand why people are attracted to that because again, I'm somebody out there. I'm Big Tony, you know. That's not what they call me, but you know,
Anthony Brown, the legendary homeless guy, right? That changed his life.
Yeah. Hey, he knows where everything is. You
Yeah.
know, and it's okay. So I'm somebody. You need me.
Yeah.
You know. Now I'm over here, and it's like you don't need me because I'm just, you know, I flip burgers at Jack in the Box. You know, but getting people to address that and getting them comfortable as we do in 12-step meetings, get them a sponsor so that they can share, hey, you know, it is hard, you know, finally figuring out how to go to a dentist and take care of my teeth. You know, it is hard understanding that I should get a physical and some lab work because being out there might have affected my liver and my kidneys. You know, it is hard to understand that finding a job and getting rejected is going to occur, but yet keep going. You know, or, you know, how do I talk to the bridges that I burned? How do I go back to my parents and say, hey, you know what, I'm sorry for ripping you off? You know, how do I stop drinking? All of these different factors. What about medications? Why did I stop taking medication? Because of the side effects. How do I communicate that with the doctor? All of these things we take into consideration. And once we're able to address these issues, even just a small portion of it, then we can help rebuild that person. Because homelessness isn't about self-esteem or self-worth. It's about self-concept.
What do you mean by that, self-concept?
Because we'll tell ourselves that we're homeless, and that's what we'll believe, and we'll behave that way. And it's really interesting because if you get a doctor, you'll tell it, you know, a doctor will always tell you, I'm a doctor. Why? Because that's what he believes. That's what he's going to practice. And that's what he's going to get good at. A golfer, you know, you're the jump rope king. Are you good at it? Tell me. The best.
All right.
Come on now. Come on, rigorous on it. You know?
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you are pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, do you tell yourself you suck at jump roping?
No.
Never.
No.
Never. You're Fausto, man. Yeah. Okay? And once you get that retrained in your brain, I'm not homeless. I'm an individual that navigates life the best way I can in an imperfect world because I'm an imperfect person. I'm supposed to make mistakes. That's how I grow. But I'm going to grow. Instead of saying, no, I'm helpless and homeless and just feed me. It's like, no. You know, when somebody come into Brown Manor and say, hey, you know what? I'm a homeless individual. It's like, okay, you were, but there's a roof over your head now. Let's start thinking different. You know, you live in a mansion, and that's the beauty about Brown Manor. I mean, it's a 9,000 square foot, 1916 refurbished mansion with authentic stained glass windows in a powder room. In a powder room.
I love that.
And so this is, I mean, again, we're going to do some cognitive behavioral things, and we're going to talk about a lot of different things, and we're not going to call it treatment because you don't like treatment. You've been to treatment. This is home. Now, and you're going to learn how to appreciate your home. Just by sticking around with the same thing with AA. We learn to appreciate sobriety because we're hanging out, you know, with people in AA appreciating sobriety. And so the same concept works. And the cool thing about the steps, I love it, because at the end of the 12th step, it says, and to practice these principles in all your affairs. So why not practice it with them? You know, everybody, absolutely everybody deserves a chance. And everybody does get a chance. It's just, are you cognitively capable of grasping that chance when it comes? We get all kinds of chances all day long, you know, but can we recognize that it's there? And do we have the willpower and the strength and the courage to grab hold of it and do something with? And that's what I'm all about, not just through my actions or my speak or anything like that, but I want to build and develop and encourage other individuals to do this thing. Because, again, I think I shared with you earlier, a lot of people don't realize how close they are to being homeless.
Yeah, one decision away.
One decision away.
And that's what I think people don't realize too. It's like people always think homeless means you're a drug addict.
No.
That's it. They connect. Yeah, they're doing drugs. Why they chose to be that. Well, no, I know people that work a normal day job, 9 to 5, and they raise their rent. And they can't afford it, and then they lost their car. Was the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
They're in a bunch of debt,
Yeah.
and now they are getting evicted,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have family nearby, and they don't know about resources yet. Really, maybe. You know what I mean? And so they literally, that's where it starts.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can see myself being homeless. I look at things of like, oh yeah, if this was to happen and that was to happen, yeah, I could be homeless.
Yeah. And the same thing. I mean, I have a good life. I mean, I really have a good life that I was blessed with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Could I deal with being homeless again? I don't know. You know, I even had a little social experiment with myself. You know, I got a abnormally high electric bill because I love AC. Okay. And I got a bunch of candles. And so I said, you know what? I'm not going to pay this, even though I learned a long time ago, pay your bills, right? Period, pay your bills. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and buck the system just because I can. You know, so I'm not paying the electric company nothing. And they shut my stuff off. And so I'm lighting candles, going, this is cool. I lasted like a whole probably 45 minutes, man. I can't take it.
Oh, okay, handle this no more. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, I give. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know, and I like this life, and I want everybody. I wish I can give my life to other people. I want to give my life to other people. So bad, Fausto. It's crazy.
What do you see, like, if you were to maybe choose like 3 things, like what are like 3 challenges that arise for you can share from your experience for those who are like, okay, we're here at a homeless shelter, you're here at a sober living, whatever it is, right? They just got off the streets. We know there's opportunity for you. There's counselors here, therapists here, people here that care about you. What are like some challenges that you notice? These are the things that come up though when you've been homeless your whole life that make it difficult to, even though yes, there's opportunity in front of us, people care about us, but we can't grasp it still. We go back this way. Like, what are some of those challenges?
Trust. That's a big one right there. You know, because I conditioned myself not to trust anybody, period. And so when somebody go, hey, let me help you, in my head it's like, what do you want? And I'm always looking for that. And so overcoming that was a challenge. Believing in yourself. You know, when they said, hey, you can't do this, like, I never could. You know, everybody else that I've been hanging around with say you ain't gonna amount to nothing. And so now you want me to believe that I'm capable of doing stuff? It's like, nah. You know, and then I would say probably I think further advance, and a lot of people still might have a problem with this, is 100% faith in God.
That's funny. I was going to ask you that question next too, like how important God is in this trying to navigate that.
Yeah. Now it's really fascinating because back in the day, I mean, I got introduced to God in a church, and when I was a little kid, and it's like, okay, yeah, you go there on Sunday, you can't. The outfit you wear to church, you can't wear no other day.
Right.
You know, and it's like, it's really strict, and you go in there and like people, you know, pray and all that stuff, but then you see them on the streets a couple days, you know, and it's like they're just doing whatever. And so it's like, okay, well, God is, you know, he's cool, you know. And then as I got involved in my drug thing, it was like, okay, God, save me and I'll be good. And so it was like a God of saving. And then it became, you know, a God of bargaining. If you do this, I will do that.
Yeah. And
now he's my bestie. Dude, my relationship with God is so intense. It's indescribably delicious. I mean, when I was sober 2 years, I went to a park that I used to get loaded at and I was homeless at. 2 years sober, and I sat on this bench. And I said, God, I know this bench is solid, and I know cars run on gas. I know that for a fact. You prove to me you exist. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And at that moment, I had the most profound spiritual experience that even to this day, 25 years later, is implanted within me. And God, he's awesome. I mean, to even try to describe it, because I believe God is unique and individualized.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I see as miracles might not be the same as you, but they're still miracles.
Mm.
I believe that God reaches you in a way in which you know within the depth of your being that he's there. And that's why different people can say, yes, I had this kind of miracle. I might not understand yours. It's like, you know, God reaches all of us where we can be reached.
Mm-hmm.
And he touched me, dude, in a way. I have that moment. I'm going to tell you this because it's a trip, dude. The tree above me turned pastel and in 3D. And I was sober 2 years.
Okay. No LSD.
Right? Nothing, dude. This was all natural, you know? And the little animals, like squirrels and rabbits and stuff, came out from the brush and surrounded my little bench. And I felt this intense calmness within me. And I felt I was given 3 instructions. 1, don't hate. 2, don't intentionally harm anybody. And 3, always finish what you start. And I've been living that way for the past 25 years with that peace and with those 3 things. And the life I have now, people always ask me, dude, how do you get all of this stuff? I just finished what I started, just doing what I'm told to do. Mm-hmm. Opportunity is there. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't cut. If I start something, I have to finish it. I remember first practicing this philosophy. I just go to the theater, whatever's playing, I don't care what it is, and just walk in there and sit down and watch the movie, period. And I got to see so many interesting foreign films with subtitles that I would never have picked. But I sat through the whole movie and I understood it. You know, going to school. I started out with an 8th grade education. I got my GED in jail. You know, started going to college. I failed a few classes, but I had to finish what I started. Now I have a master's degree. You know, starting up business. I go to work. I've been unemployed for 25 years. And I've advanced in my career. I ended up being a director of nursing through COVID. Wow. All because those instructions. Mm-hmm. You know, I've written books. I get to hang out with people like you. All because I was told to finish what I start. People want to know what the secret is. I just finish what I start. And then some, like this latest task, because God puts things in front of you that he knows you can handle. You might not know it. You know, I'm given an abandoned 1916 mansion, you know, and I'm like, whoa. The first time I walked in a Brown Manor, dude, first of all, I bought this property without even seeing it. I got it from the newspapers. I trust you, God. You know? And it's like, here I'm sitting in Orange County, city of Orange, nice condo, 2 cars, college professor, loving it, making more money than I ever made before, and God said, give it up and go help somebody. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I'll send some money over there to help people. It's like, no, dude, that's not what I mean.
Dude, I want to send you.
I want to send you. And I'm like, okay, I trust you. You know, and so I bought this house sight unseen, went there to sign the paperwork, walked into this building, dude. The very first thing I seen was a dried bat hanging off the light bulb. I'm like, what? And then I looked in, and the walls were falling, mildew. I mean, beer cans. It was just a hot mess, and I'm like, whoa. And I went back to my hotel room and I got on my knees because I pray every day, dude. You know, and I said, you know what, God? What is it I'm not seeing? Help me. And I woke up and I walked back to that house the next day and opened that door and I see the most beautifulest place on this entire planet. I start seeing the crystal glass windows. I start seeing the stained glass windows. I start seeing everything that it could be. And I just got busy. And again, it's a huge task. It is. You know, and I talk to God about this also all the time. You know, because I ain't rich. I'm not, man. I just work a lot. And I was telling God years ago, I go, you know what, God? Okay, I get it. You want me to do this. I know it took Moses forever to build an ark. You know, everybody in the Bible had some adversity. You know, Jonah got swallowed by a whale. You know, I mean,
it's like, God, just don't make me Job, huh? I don't want to be Job, though. Just
you know, yeah, you know, but I'll do what you want me to do. Yeah. And I was getting fed up, dude. I was like, oh my God, it's like I'm watching my savings go down because I'm putting money in his house. You know, I retired as a college professor. I'm out there working 2 jobs. I'm like, come on, God, what's going on? And I go, okay, that's it. We're going to have a chit chat because I talk to God all the time. I was like, okay, God, you know, where am I supposed to get the money? And then God's like, dude, It's my money. Spend it. And I'm like, okay, so if I spend all of your money,
Right.
okay, what am I gonna have? And he goes, well, when you was like homeless, did you have any money? I'm like, no. It's like, when you was born, did you have any money? I'm like, no. When you die, are you gonna have any money? I'm like, no. And he goes, well, spend it. And I'm like, okay, I don't like the way this is going,
Yeah.
you know. And so I'm like, okay, I'll tell you what, God, if I spend this money, I'm going to, because you told me to, right? And,
Uh,
okay, if I spend it seriously, like, what am I gonna have? And then he like hit me, man. He goes, look, check this out, dude. You have a license to practice in 2 different states. You own your house and you own your car. What else do you want? And then he dropped the mic on me. And I thought about that. I go, you know what? That's true. What else do I want? I eat every day. I do own my own house as long as I pay taxes. I do own my own car.
mm-hmm.
I can go anywhere. I'll never be without work as long as I want it to work.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do I want? And right then I surrendered. Okay, God, I'll put all my money into this. Dude, no more than 15 minutes, my Ring doorbell went off. And I looked through my phone, and there was a deer staring right into the lens. And I mean, like, what's the? I'm like,
Yeah,
they always say,
that's.
is it odd or is it God?
I don't know.
And
That's.
I'm like, all right, I hear you, And dude, right after that, the local lumber place donated all the drywall for the whole house. The local asphalt company did our back parking lot for free,
Wow.
And it's like, okay, I get it. I get it. Because truth be told, when I die, none of this stuff is going with me. It's all his.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm full speed ahead. There's my publisher, Sherry Ward. She wrote a script and has a pitch deck and everything called The Ghetto Practitioner, and it's a movie about me, and all the proceeds from that go to Brown Manor. Everything I do is going to Brown Manor, because all I want to do is give somebody else the same chance I got.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You know, I want a little mentor to go, hey, here's my brain. Carry on a legacy.
Yeah.
Because if every one of us can reach out, because everybody on the streets is somebody's mother, brother, sister, uncle.
Mm-hmm. It's a loved one of somebody.
It's somebody.
Mm-hmm.
If we can reach out to that person and get them to be able to do the stuff that we get to do these days, then I believe I've served my purpose here on this earth. It's not about the money. Money isn't nothing. I mean, it's good to have, but it's the Egyptians got buried with gold and everything else, and what happened a few thousand years later? The gold is still there, and so this is just stuff. What matters to me is how can I reach that next person, and that's what I'm about.
Yeah, and why do you find that? Because and I mean, I know why, but for the listeners, like I think a lot of people, right? They think money could be the answer to all the problems,
No.
and it helps. Right?
It
helps with problems. So the answer
It
to all your
helps create
problems
too.
yeah, too. More money, more problems, right? What is it for you that you've discovered why it's so important to you that it's about that next person to help out? Like, what is it about that you find so fulfilling for you that's on your heart?
Because I know what it's like. I don't have sympathy so much, but I have a lot of empathy. And I know what it's like to be out in the rain with the only thing you own is what you're wearing, and you can't get warm. I know what it's like to cry in the rain because you can't get warm, and you don't have nothing else. I know what it's like to be really hungry and don't have money and can't get food. I know what it's like for people to stare at you and put their head down and have to walk through that. I know what it's like to have your freedom completely taken away because of your bad choices, because that's all you knew how to make. I know all of that, I know the struggles of even going to school. I know the struggles of getting a job. I know the struggles of rejection. I know all of that. So it's important for me to reach out to somebody else and go, hey, I know what you're going through. I know a way out. and work with me. I understand you might not trust me. I understand what it's like not to trust people. I know. I feel your pain. Okay? But also know that there is hope. And let's find that hope. I can point and go, there it is over there, but you can say, well, then that's a distance. What about all the obstacles? It's like I already know the path. Let's do this. You know? And I understand trust is earned. Trust is developed over time. I understand it, and I'm patient. I will go and sit on a bench. I will go sit in a corner of a hospital bed of a mental health patient when they're depressed, so that I can be eye to eye with them and let them know that, you know what, we can do this. Because I know what that's like. So that's what it means to me.
No, I love that. Yeah, you are a proof that you can completely change your life from nothing, that you can go from homelessness for that long and to have this blessed life that you have. And you're right, you know all the aspects of it. I know what it's like to get out of homelessness and trying to figure out how to just be a normal person, how to learn how to talk again, how to make friends, how to build community, then how to get a home, how to get a car, how to get a job, how to go to school. I mean, there's so much in all that too to navigate. I can't even imagine your first day of school. But that was probably like
it was crazy. It was crazy. And I walk up on campus, and first of all,
did you start at Cypress or where'd you start?
Yeah, Cypress was my first school.
Yeah.
And that's where I went to become a psych tech. And it was interesting, just even being on a college campus. It's like, here I am, an 8th grade dropout with a GED, an adult, and I'm on college campus.
And how old are you at this point?
By then I was, Jesus, when I went to school to stay, 37, 38. Yeah. And no, I was like 39. And I walked into, because I tried school before, but I was always loaded and it doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Doing school on methamphetamines, it's not good. Okay.
You were to school. Oh, God.
Yeah. I mean, dude, my textbooks was like had 5 different color highlighters and everything else. I didn't know nothing. It was crazy. I couldn't even talk. But going to school straight and sober is a whole different ball game, because you're sitting there wanting to fit in. And thank God I was sober. And wanting to fit in and getting my textbooks, and nursing textbooks are really thick and big, and, reading them, and then have to trust somebody to be a study buddy with instead of doing it alone. Because I tried it by myself. I was like, no, I'm not grasping this. I need to be part of something.
Yeah.
And to practice and to run things off people and stuff like that. And I went through that, probably failed a few classes in the beginning, and thank God for AA, because I can run to an AA room and go, oh my God, I failed. I failed statistics 3 times. And I would go into the rooms, oh my God, I failed statistics. And they'd say something silly like, well, keep coming back. This too shall pass.
Yeah.
All that stuff. I'm like, whatever. Where's my sympathy? It's like, dude, go to school, be grateful.
Yeah. Try again.
Exactly.
Right,
and I did. And
so
my first day at school was really fearful, but then once I got the hang of it, after that first semester, it's like, okay, and it's like, I like this. I like learning. I like behavior modification. I love anatomy and physiology. Chemistry is a blast, and I just really got into it. I remember my first chemistry class. They gave us a petri dish to go home to catch some germs. Then come back and look at it underneath the microscope and gram stain it and everything. And I went and set mine by the toilet. There's got to be some germs over here. And that was fun. It was learning. And I love learning something new. And I still have that.
Yeah.
And plus God told me to finish everything I start. So once I start, I'm stuck, like it or not, and it paid off. Yeah,
it's really fascinating how sometimes, I think all the time, like the simplest pieces of wisdom people give you is just the truth. Like, just finish what you start. Something simple as that. It's like, you will figure it out. Everything new you should technically not be good at. You've never done it. It's normal. It's not because of who you are, you think, or because you're not good enough, or no, it's you've never done it.
Everything new is new.
Yeah.
Okay. even as a little baby. Okay. Even walking was new.
Yeah.
Okay. Now look, we don't even think about it no more.
Yeah.
You know, or riding a bicycle.
Yeah. Driving a car.
Exactly. Everything.
All
is
that stuff.
You know, but eventually you just take practice, and it's like, okay, it's no longer new anymore.
I love that, and I love the God component too, because I work at a homeless shelter once a month. I go there tomorrow.
Okay.
And it's in Vista County, and I get to hear so many different stories of why they are where they're at, and you hear stories of the typical, right? Someone typical AA person, right, is drinking, right? I get it, typical. Okay, go to AA. Then you see the ones where they had everything going for them. Some traumatic incident happened to them when they're like 50, 60 years old, and they couldn't handle it, mental breakdown, you know what I mean? They lose their job. You see those stories. I've even heard stories of, and I don't know how true it is, because again, I don't know if they're lying to me in that moment or whatever, I don't know. But I've heard some women say, like, they're older, like in their 60s, 70s, and they're like, I'm like, why are you homeless? And they're like, well, I met my husband when I was in my 20s, and he says, you don't have to work, you just raise the kids. And then once the kids go to college, they find out their husband was a narcissist and abusive, and goes, all right, I got a new girl, you're out. And then they realize that I don't have any job skills, I don't have any money because it's all under his name, I have nothing, and it kicks me up the streets. I've heard those versions of stories too. And the one thing that we talk about a lot too is, we talk about God. I'm like, because you said, right, like, I know right now feels like everything's impossible. Like you said, they don't have their IDs, right? They don't have money, they don't know where they're going to live. They owe money, whatever it is, right? No car. So there's a lot of fear. And they think in that moment, like, no one wants to help me.
Right.
Everyone's lying to me. Nobody cares about me. You hear that. Okay.
Right.
And maybe there's some truth to, maybe you ran into a person that maybe was lying to you. Maybe that person that works here is really bad at getting back to you. Like, I could tell they're all over the place. Like, I get it. But that's where I say, this is where you got to lean on God. Pray, know that God will help you figure out. I mean, like you said, it may not be that person that's going to help you or that person, but somebody will. Just let people know what you need, and God will show up. And I always try to say that, but then right away it's, no, I've tried everything, and it doesn't work.
Then that's when you say, well, then I know one thing you should try. And they'll go, what? Just go wait, I'll tell you. And then after a while, it's like, are you ready for it? It's like, okay, let's sit down. Okay. The thing you should try, I'll get right back after these messages. And then go, do you realize that you and I are actually having a conversation? It's not based on anything, just on the fact that I'm here with you or you're here with me. We might even confuse that as being associates. And you kind of like whittle that wall down, because once you've been hurt, and that is a trauma, that wall goes up. And I've learned a long time ago, we build that wall for protection, never realizing that we become a prisoner behind it. And to get that wall down, sometimes it doesn't take a sledgehammer, it takes a paintbrush, and just sweep dust by dust by dust by dust. And once you get that trust, even if you get that smile, then that's when you can say, okay, here's what I have to offer. You don't have to take it. You don't even have to think about it. I just want to give it to you. Or you want to give me something because somebody gave it to me. And then come back the next day. And it's not about what I gave you. It's like, hi, I'm here again.
Yeah, it's not even about that anymore.
It's not about that anymore.
That was yesterday. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just here again. It's a new day.
Yeah.
New experience.
Yeah, because a lot of times, again, people will use that defense mechanism because they've already been pushed. They've been rejected by the most important thing in their life, their spouse. It's like, I don't trust nobody now.
Yeah, if I couldn't grow up trusting mom, dad, or my loved ones, why should I trust you?
Right.
And
it's a process.
Yeah, and like you said, right, when you're living on the streets, you probably can't trust anybody when you're living on the streets.
Right.
You hear people are stealing this, stealing that, don't do that. It's like, and it's like, it's maybe for women it might be even harder. I don't know if it's hard for women in the streets versus men, right? So there's all that trauma and all that pain and all that suffering that I notice in there. So I love that you said how like that God component is so important, because
it is so important.
I know for me, my first year in recovery is when I started praying for the first time, like really praying. And I believe God knew how. He's like, Fasa, man, you need a miracle year just to get through this, man. You're so sensitive. You know what I mean? You doubt everything. You're so scared. All right, I'm just going to be visible. Almost like God was visible for me. He's like, I'm going to be visible for you for the first year, just to get you going the first year. And then the second year, you could work through some stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember praying and just simple, like, God, okay, all right, God, I'm going to try this prayer thing. Like, God, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent this month. I have 3 weeks sober. I'm going to meetings. I got the sponsor. I'm scared. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, please help me. I'm sorry for everything. Like, I promise you, like, I'm doing what I feel like I need to do. Like, I don't know. They're telling me to pray. I don't get this. Like, how is this going to happen? Why isn't somebody just giving me money in the meeting? I thought my sponsor would give me money or someone give me money.
Oh, yeah, good chance on that one.
And I go to work, right? Again, like I say, I'm just showing up to work. I was a server. And it was Christmas time, but during the week. So it was a small Christmas party, maybe like 20 people. And it was just me. And I remember closing up the tab, and the lady who threw the party for the company goes, "Hey, can I close out the bill?" Sometimes there's a balance, maybe like $400 balance. They've already paid for it, and she tipped $2,000. And I remember I was like, and I needed $4,000. So in the moment, at first I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" But then I'm like, "But I still need $2 more grand." Right away, I see it kicks in, right? The fear, but I still need $2,000. And she goes, "Is that enough?" And I went, my mind went, no. In my mind, I went, yes, that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's so selfish if I said it was. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, you know what? Let me get one more drink. Give me a vodka soda. It's like, okay. And I'm cleaning up the plates. And I come back, everybody's gone. And she left another $2,000.
Wow.
So I always tell people, and I'm sure you agree, like, prayer is so powerful.
It is.
Like, I needed that. And that God knew in that moment, I got to do this miracle for you through this prayer. Because, man, you need to believe in me and you need something big. So I'm going to help you because you're showing up, you're doing right. And so in that way, he showed up. He showed up for opportunities too. God, this is meant to be. Give me a sign. And he does. And I go for it. So, yeah, I find that God component is so important when you're so broken and it's really hard, your situation, right? Because there are situations for humans that, yeah, that sucks.
Mm-hmm.
You did not have a good life, or that wasn't fair that happened to you. So I love that you brought up that God component. Like, how important do you find prayer is for somebody to really get out of homelessness?
Prayer is really important. It's I pray a lot more now than I did then, because again, God was a rescue God back then. I believe that if you ask, you will receive it. You know, the life I got now, I couldn't have imagined it. And never, ever, ever. But once I asked God to prove himself to me 25 years ago, everything else is just par for the course. Good, bad, happy, sad, up, down. That's just all part of the blessings. Because everything that I encountered, there's a reason for it. You know, when I was working telemarketing, it's like, okay, at least I got money in my pocket. I didn't realize that that's going to give me the resilience to bounce back from rejection. And so when I went to apply to get my nursing license, it's like, well, you have a criminal history. It's like, okay, you know, but I didn't take it as a major rejection. I took it as, okay, what is it that I need to do to fix this? And so every little thing I encounter is just another stepping stone. Because God has this, for me, God has this really cool, intricate picture that's really beautiful. But the only thing we see is all the strings and knots that's behind it. But I know that is part of something beautiful. I feel that in the depths of my being. You can't shake that from me. And so I get up in the morning, I pray because I just like chatting with God. I love chit-chatting with God. We laugh about some outrageous things, you know, because he understands me. And I understand a lot about him. I can't say that I know all about him, but I do know of him. And I share that with people. I used to do a show on the Holy Spirit Broadcast Network. And one day I was doing a show, and it hit me, the title of the show is, Can I Get a Witness? And when that hit me, I did the show, then afterwards I thought, well, did that mean that I am supposed to witness what God is doing in my life? Or is other people supposed to witness what God is doing in my life? Can I get a witness? And I think that is so small but powerful. And I go and I do the things, and I see God's hand in almost everything, you know. And always hear people, or I have heard people say, well, what about this tragedy? What about that? It's like, hey, everything is everything. I mean, everything fits for a reason. I mean, absolutely everything, you know? And so it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, last year, it was like almost 2 years ago, I got diagnosed with stage 2 intestinal cancer.
Oh, you did?
I got diagnosed with that. Colon cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am. I'm in Ohio all by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm at work at a hospital. And it's at night shift. And I collapsed on a desk at work. And the nurses just pushed me downstairs to the emergency room. They said, you're anemic. Okay, great. I went, had a colonoscopy, and said, okay, there's a huge lesion in your intestines. Now, I'm a nurse. When I seen it, I kind of knew, but I didn't want to know, you know. And they did the biopsy. I'm like, okay, you got cancer. And I was like, oh my God, why? You know, all of that stuff. And then I took a deep breath, and I come to realize, it's like, okay, why did God put me in a position in which I retired from California? I had some savings. I owned my house, my own car, just to have this diagnosis so I can miss work and not have to worry about the bills behind it. Okay. And then after I got out the hospital, I was by myself. I had my own staples. It's like, why did God give me the skills of being a nurse practitioner to be able to clean my own wounds? Like, okay, so that's cool. Now, when he initially told me, it's like my first thing was just let me die.
Right.
I'm done.
How long do I got?
Right. I already lived life.
Yeah.
You know, the doctor was like, dude, you're kind of like being dramatic. I'm like, yeah, I'm alcoholic. But got through that, and here it is 2 years post, and it's okay. You know, and it's just fascinating how all of these things, because I got to make a choice, you know. I mean, and everything went through my head. You know, you have cancer. Okay, you're gonna die. No, you didn't die. You know, what about the side effects of chemo? It's like, okay, you didn't turn into a lizard person. It's okay, and you can afford all of it. You know, I had the resources for that. Now, had I still been living out here, I still would have had to pay on my condo. You know, would I had the resource to be able to take 30 days off of work? You know, but God knew before I did. And it made that trip so much easier. And it was just, and I got to write a book while I was just sitting back doing it. And it's like, okay, thanks, God. Thanks, you know. And now I get a message for other cancer survivors or people who are early diagnosed and they're still panicking. It's like, you know, you can walk, that's another thing I get to do with people. We can walk through this.
Yeah, another thing, yeah.
You know, I know about chemo now. I know about surgery. You know, I know about post-op care.
Yeah, you know what it's like to hear that word, you have cancer. You know that emotion that comes with that.
Yes. And it is what it is. It's just life on life's terms. So everything, and I get all of that feeling and the capabilities all because of my relationship with God. You know, I don't drink or use. I had an opportunity. It's funny when it was when I came out of surgery, they were giving me Dilaudid and Somas, and I'm like, and I told my doctor way ahead of time. I was like, yeah, I'm an addict, you know. And I called up, you know, Dr. Drew. I was like, dude, I'm going to be on these drugs, you know. And he's like, well, no, you're just going to be on medicine temporarily and don't even think about letting your head go there. And I come to discover I didn't even like it. Yeah. I didn't. You know, I mean, if someone gave me nightmares, I woke up all fearful. And the Dilaudid made me loopy. I couldn't wait to stop that crap. Man, I was like, yeah. You know, but all of these things. And here I sit here today. I get to hang out and share my experience, strength, and hope with people. You know, again, just so that we can walk through this together. You never, ever, ever have to be alone. But I also believe that once you are aware of the truth, you can no longer be ignorant of the facts. Okay, plain and simple.
That's powerful.
You know, a lot of us only get one bite at the apple. I'm pretty sure we get multiple bites at the apple. But once you're aware of it, then what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, once you know why you do what you do, there ain't no looking back.
There ain't no looking back.
It's like that saying, right? A head full of AA or a belly full of beer. Like, good luck enjoying your buzz.
Yeah, because you're not gonna like it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love that. It's I believe, and I could be wrong, the thing that God does that things don't do for people is that ability to accept life on life's terms, to be able to look at things in such a different way, that there's a reason for this, even though this is terrible and I hate this and this sucks. But I know if I just have faith, I'm going to understand this one day, why this is happening. And it may not be tomorrow, it may not be next year, but I will. And that mindset, I think, is so powerful because it allows you to let things go, accept things, forgive, walk through it. I truly believe that's the power of what God can do for us versus other things. And I love that because a lot of times we think, okay, right, because, well, then why do bad things happen? You always hear that. And they always define, like, all these the terriblest things in the world to argue it. Or I tell people sometimes, like, that story of the mining guy was mining for gold. You always hear it. He was like this far away from it, and he's like, "Oh, there's no gold here." He gives up. He goes, "You can have it." And the guy digs one time, goes, "I found gold." And it's kind of, that's how God is too. Like, the blessings are around the corner. Just the journey there might not look the way you think it's going to look, because it takes obstacles to get there, because you never know what God's preparing you for. That heartbreak, that betrayal, that job that you lost, whatever it is, that illness, like, there's a reason for this thing to happen, and you'll see down the road what it is. So I love that you shared that, because it's a better mindset to have, is like learning how to just walk through acceptance of life. Whatever it is, just learn how to accept it and trust that it's a part of the journey. And if you can believe that with faith, you'll be able to look back and be like, wow, thank God I walked through that.
Yeah, it makes the travel much easier. Because I believe we're given a specified, we're given time, okay? But that's the only thing we can't keep either. And so I believe time is a precious commodity that shouldn't be wasted. And if you are able to make everything in life a lesson, then you spent your time wisely. Because everything is a lesson somewhere. Like you said, we might not know what it is. It's like we start out with this chapter of the book. We know that there's an end somewhere, but what's really going on? And as long as we look or read it with intent, we're able to capture the true meaning of what's inside of our hand. And that's how life is. I don't know, maybe I'm getting older, who knows? But what I do know is life is just life. That's all it is. Figuring out a way to navigate it comfortably until your expiration date is the trick. But once you understand the rules of the game, then it's no longer a trick, it's just a journey.
Yeah. It's like that. That's why I write, hey, we're all going to die one day. So who cares sometimes about things, right? Stop caring so much about stuff. Yeah, but who cares?
Yeah.
We have one life.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
there's one thing that's guaranteed. We're going to expire. We have an expiration date.
Yeah.
And that's why I laugh at Brown Manor sometimes, because I've been working on that project for like 5 years, it seems. And people's like, aren't you ever going to finish? It's like, well, if I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. And they're like, why do you say that? Because I get to say, I got to do this. I got to try. I got to be involved in it. Plain and simple. I got the experience of learning how to deal with contractors. I got the experience how to deal with codes and permits. I got the experience of just all kinds of stuff. I got to do it. How many people can say that they got to work on a mansion that they owned?
Right.
I got to do that. That's a blessing, If it's God's will, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be definitely a touchstone project that can be carbon copied for other people who know how to deal with this homeless situation. Solving homelessness is not a problem. It's not even, it's easy. We just have to have the desire to do it. It's not very pretty. You don't get a whole lot of accolades from it, but what you do is get to be part of somebody else's life.
Yeah.
And that's huge. That's huge. Knowing that somebody I'm teaching how to unlearn certain things and relearn certain things. And seeing that light bulb go on, seeing people come and go, man, I got a car, or I got a place to live. I can't wait to go to work. I don't like my job, but I can't wait to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff is huge.
Mm-hmm. I always tell people, like, because I'm like you, that's worth more than any piece of money or item, that light bulb moment. I always tell people, like, you never know who that person might be one day that you're helping. They might be the person that helps out your grandson.
Right.
Right? You just don't know that. And that person has people that love them. Man, how beautiful is that when you go, Dad's back, Mom's back, I got my brother back, I got my cousin back. And then they have their friends, and there's that ripple effect. It's like, that is everything right there. Like you said, right? It's not pretty, that type of work. It's not easy.
It's not, but it's worth it.
But it's worth it.
It's worth it.
And all it takes is for somebody, you got to just have that heart for that. And if it's about being rich, you ain't going to get rich off of that.
You're definitely not going to get rich off of that.
No, not money-wise, but rich in heart, yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is.
That's priceless.
Yeah.
That's priceless.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, I know I'm not going to get rich, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because God already told me it's not my money anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And what is rich, right? You think about it. When you can learn to be okay with, like, I got food, I got transportation, I got friends, and I can go to the gym when I want to go. Whatever, the simplest things. When you know, like, that's enough.
Yeah,
I'm good.
How many times because every morning now since I've been out here, I go down to the same park that I used to party at. And when I just, discovered my relationship with God, I go there and meditate. How many times does people want to just slow down enough to enjoy something as simple as looking at a squirrel?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Or just sit and stare at a plant. Mm-hmm. And just don't think about nothing. Enjoy the breeze and just clear your mind. None of that craziness. Just go, okay. I get to spend an hour like that. And that hour, to me, is better than any of these other things that I'm involved in. Mm-hmm. After my day is over, I lay down, I go to sleep, and I'm at peace. Now, the normal hustle and bustle and gotta, see patients or deal with the structure of the house or meeting deadlines, I'm just like, And then I go to bed thinking, and I pray at night to get rid of that. But I wake up in the morning now and I go to the park and I start my day off like that. Everything for the whole day is just like.
Yeah. I mean, right? It's once you get a car, the first car you get for us, right? It was nice, right? I got a car. But after a couple of weeks, I forget I'm even in the car driving.
Right.
I'm like, I forgot I'm driving a car right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. So this feeling of chasing things, it's fleeting.
Right.
How I got the wrong place. This is great. This is nice. I'm designing it. And then after a couple months, you're like, oh, I forgot I'm in my house right now, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a house. That's right. Okay.
It's just a house.
So once you know that truth, and like you said, right, it's those little small moments of simplicity of I can breathe. The breeze is good weather. This is great.
Yeah.
Oh, I had a good conversation with somebody. God, that was good. That was nice. Some
Very
good
nice.
Coffee, man. What is that? Black coffee? Just black? Best black coffee ever.
Tasty. Absolutely. I got taste buds these days.
Yeah, right.
All the little things, I was taught a long time ago, develop an attitude of gratitude, Be grateful for 3 things every day, I'm grateful I got a pillow. I'm grateful that I have a blanket. I'm grateful I got batteries in my remote control.
I got a knee pillow now.
Ooh, baller.
Right? I'm like, that knee pillow, I'm like, right?
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. We can always choose to gripe about something, but then that's a choice. Mm-hmm. Or we can choose to be grateful about something. That's still a choice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a choice. I always say, like to be joyful is a choice. Mm-hmm. It's still a muscle. To be positive is a choice. It's a lot easier to be negative.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to blame. It's a lot easier to have no self-control. I can do whatever I want. Like, that's easy. Mm-hmm. That's easy. Try to not do whatever you want.
Right. But it's good stuff, man. Good stuff.
So in this movie that they want to do about you, is Denzel Washington going to play you? You got to tell me.
You know what? I don't know. First of all, somebody's got to contact Sherry and say, hey, let me see the script.
Yeah.
But people ask me that too. Who would I want to play me? I think as an adult me, who I am right now, Morgan Freeman, man. Morgan Freeman. Yeah, it's got to be him. But whatever God's will is, I just want people to see, whether the movie makes it or not.
Yeah.
I just want people to see that a human being can become a better human being,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and for us not to forget that nobody does this alone.
Mm-hmm.
And so why not be the catalyst of somebody else? Why not just be the the cheap brick underneath the corner of somebody's cheap sofa?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just be there for support. All of us matter. All of us do. And every one of us is important to one another. And that's what that movie's all about. You know, I didn't get to who I am by myself. It took a series of circumstances and people like that police officer, or even my mom being who she was. Because I don't know. If I would have stayed home instead of running away from home, would I be where I'm at now? The trajectory might have been completely different.
Yeah.
But I do know whatever occurred, I found God on such an intense level
Mm-hmm.
that it's just breathtaking. And so, yeah, again, the script is there. The what is that thing called? The pitch deck is
Pitch
there.
deck, yeah.
It's all there. You know, just call her up and go, hey, let's take a crack. Let's see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because all proceeds to that movie goes to keep Brown Manor going. I'm not going to be around forever, but I want Brown Manor to be there changing lives.
That's right.
That's what's important. You know, you don't have to put a bust of me in the foyer or none of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What matters is when you see that man out there on the street shivering and it's cold, and he looks lost and he's afraid. Go, hey, you're a human being. Let me show you something different. Mm-hmm. So he can tell the next man and the next man and the next man. That's important.
I love that. Well, yeah, I just want to say before we get to the speed questions, again, thank you for sharing all that stuff too. There's a lot of good wisdom and all that stuff, and it's always nice to hang out with Dr. Drew's best friend.
Oh, stop it already. You hear that, Drew? You hear what he said?
Yeah, I said it, right? His best friend. That's how I'm going to label it. Anthony Brown, Dr. Drew's best friend.
Oh, Jesus.
So for this last part, what I do with everybody is I do speed questions.
Okay, hit me up.
What are 3 books that you would recommend to somebody that can completely change their life?
Am I going to be selfish or what?
So my first book, my second book, and my third book.
Yeah,
Dr. Drew's book, maybe 4th. Right?
Yeah. To be honest with you, as hard as it is to read and understand, I would say the Bible is number 1. Because there's some profound wisdom and example in there. And that's one of those books that, depending on where you are in life, you can read the same thing and get a different interpretation.
Yeah.
Personally, if you're an alcoholic, the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous. Again, it's one of those books that if you read it and you're in a different space and time, in a different mindset, it looks different. And then the third, I would say, a book I recommend somebody reading. Anything from Sue Grafton. I really enjoy her book. She has a series. A is for alibi, B is for burglary, blah blah blah. And she has a cute little detective that goes around and gets into stuff. I think that. Then, of course, my 3 favorites, from Park Bench to Park Avenue to Ghetto Practitioner. Bunny's book is My World and I'll Deal With It.
That's right.
My up-and-coming book is God Fake News. And so I encourage people to read a variety of literature.
Yeah.
Read some textbooks. There's nothing wrong with enhancing your brain. I love to sit down with a good biology book or just something that's really scientific. I like that.
Yeah, right now reading Michael Jackson's, the only book that he's wrote was back in 1987. That's actually him writing it. And so I'm reading about him because I find him fascinating. Yeah, it's always nice to read books, whether it's an autobiography, right, a scientific book, textbook, spiritual book. When you read the book, it's like you hang out with them. And that's what I find fascinating. What was one single mindset shift that completely changed your life?
One single mindset?
Yeah.
When Nancy Clark looked at me and it said, Tony Brown, you need to shave. That changed my mind because that was a catalyst that let me know that it's important that sometimes your first impression is the best impression. And I mean, even to this day, 25 years later, you know, and for a lady to just get in my face and not have, I mean, because I was from prison, and here's this shorter than I red haired lady just got up in my grill, dude. Just go, and you need to shave. I'm like, okay, you know, but that helps me realize that I can follow direction, you know, from anybody, and people cared about me enough to say, hey, let me help you.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times people won't say anything, you know, let you go ahead and learn from your own mistakes. Now she was like proactive, it's like, you need to shave. Period. That's the way it is. So I think that helps shift.
I love that. It's true though. It's think about going out to eat. If I look at that plate of food, the first thing I look is how does it look, and then
it's in the presentation.
Yeah, and if it tastes better, it tastes good, even better, right? So I love that. What is the worst piece of advice someone's ever given you? I'm sure you got a
lot. The worst piece of advice. It came from my brother, love him to death. When I was going through the part in which I was applying to get my certificate rehabilitation in the courts, I didn't have money, and I was representing myself with the guidance of an attorney. And I told my brother, and he goes, you're a fool for even trying to do that. And that's the worst piece of advice that I've ever heard from anybody. And I still represented myself. And again, I failed 3 times, but each time I learned something different. You know, each time it's like, okay, the judge will say, I can't give you legal advice. However, if this was this, and this, then it would be different. And so I paid for the transcripts of that case, and I went and I read it and studied it and gave him exactly what he said. And so now I wasn't a fool. And a lot of times people will stop what they're doing because of somebody else's opinion. And this is my brother, and I love him as much as I can. But I think that was the worst piece of advice anybody ever gave me.
I love that you shared that. Yeah, we got to remember what people tell us is an opinion.
It's an opinion.
It's an opinion that they have based on their experiences and their idea and what they're feeling. And we got to be careful with the opinions that we listen to, because not all advice is good advice.
Right.
And not all great advice is advice for us.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so I love that you were able to just walk through that and stuff like that. I love that. For my last question, let's say there's somebody today that's, you know, their first day, they're in treatment and they've been homeless. Their first day maybe at a homeless shelter, right? They've been homeless for years. And they're like, you know, Anthony, that's cool, but I'm more homeless than you were. I got more problems than you have. Like, I'm different than you. There is no hope for me. What would you want to tell them?
I would say there's hope within you. You may not realize it, but something brought you to the point where you are right now. Okay, something. Okay, whether it's to get out of the weather, whether it's to get something to eat, something brought you to that point. That little small speck is hope. Don't go nowhere and watch it grow. Don't quit before the miracle happens. It doesn't matter what level of life you are. Okay? If you're sitting there right now, even thinking, count that blessing that you have a thought. There's still hope.
Powerful. Well, Anthony, I just want to say, you know, thank you again for coming out here and sharing so much wisdom and vulnerability. You're such a good person, and you're so consistent with who you are, whether you're on stage speaking, whether you're with the crowd, one-on-one, wherever you go, you know, you are that person that just truly wants to help people, and you truly, truly believe in the power of God and love and so much. And I just grateful to know you as a friend. You're always my biggest cheerleader. And I think we all need that. You know, we all need reminders of who we are and how God sees us. And for those who want to, you know, find out about your nonprofit, they want to reach out to you, where can they find you?
The nonprofit is the Jeanette Jones Safford Foundation. You can find us on the web, or you can go to my webpage, anthonyhowardbrown.com. You can get a hold of me there. Facebook, Instagram. Type in the Ghetto Practitioner. I'm all over the place. I'm in Mansfield, Ohio. If you're back east, stop by Brown Manor, say hi. Just Google, you know, or you can go to Amazon. You can get the book From Park Bench to Park Avenue. You can get Ghetto Practitioner from there. There's all kinds of avenues to get a hold of me, and I appreciate the support from people. I appreciate somebody even caring, you know, and I do my best to try to hang out with, you know, the hope deal.